Hey, welcome to episode 160 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Freeman, and, and today we're talking to a guest with a very unique history. Because all guests I ever talk to have unique histories, but also his history is also very similar to other people. So yes, and yes, and this is. My guest today deserves a better introduction than that, but we'll regroup and be back in a sec. Oops.
Today's guest, Jason Freeman.
We we often talk about the courage it takes to do big things, but what about the courage it takes just to step out and do our imperfect best week after week? Today I'll be talking myself and talking about questions like, did it take courage to ultimately accept and share my voice? And the answer is betcha. We all have challenges, and it takes courage to acknowledge them and work with them. During this episode, I'm going to talk about some exciting events I've been a part of lately that took courage to show up and participate in. I'm also going to talk about the behind the scenes, everyday office stuff that I'm gradually learning to show up for with more conviction and courage. Was the beginning very awkward? It was indeed. Okay, so I had this idea of introducing myself like I introduce my all my other podcast guests, and it being quick and snappy and funny and it's showing me as confident and on top of my game, and as I was actually doing that thing which I envisioned in my mind, it came out choppy, discombobulated, and not like I wanted. And but I took another step, and I know for next time if I want to try it again, to practice it a bit more, maybe think through ways to make it funny. So I'm beginning how I didn't anticipate, by coaching myself on the step I just took to introduce this, which didn't go as well as I thought it would. But this gets to the heart of one thing about taking steps. In the beginning, when we just hear a speaker say, "Oh, wow," just take a bunch of steps and do the work, and then you'll get to where you want to go. That doesn't always take into account that some steps we take are going to be extremely awkward. Some steps we take are going to be extremely imperfect. Some steps we take are going to lead in the opposite direction we want to go. So, some steps we take are going to seem so small to us that in retrospect we're like, oh, why did I even take that step? I just wasted my time. Have you ever taken a step and it seemed so minor that you were just like, oh, why did I even do that? I was just wasting my time. Yes, we can really yell at ourselves, can we? What fascinates me about this discussion of taking steps, I guess one of many things that does is have you ever had this experience of watching TV and seeing someone on TV, or maybe you go to a speaker and they tell the the story of struggle, and it's really tough, and they went through awful stuff, like just challenging stuff, heartbreaking stuff that they didn't think they would ever get out of. And then all of a sudden, now they are on top of the game, they're earning the money they want to make, they're having the relationships they want to have, and they're so in love with life, and everything's so wonderful. But what is often missing, or what I find missing, is like, hey, how did they get from A to B? What was the middle part like? Did they suddenly just wake up one day magically with a whole new mindset and new confidence to do amazing stuff? Like I could tell you that I struggled in later grade school and got really miserable with myself, and felt like I was the only one who was different, the only one who didn't have challenges, the only one who did have challenges, the only one who didn't have potential. And I was so miserably stressed out, just stressed out beyond stressed out. And then I could tell you how I hit a low point in seventh grade of attempting suicide. And then I could skip to the last 10 years where I published a book. See it behind me? I'm sitting right in front of it. Where I've done a TEDx talk, and I've interviewed all these amazing guests on my podcast. I just had the honor of doing so many amazing things, and I could tell you about speaking to middle schoolers a few weeks ago and how they absolutely loved and thanks for the love. Absolutely loved it, and they were so relieved to have a chance to talk with someone about being stressed out, being in middle school, and have a chance to brainstorm things to do. Or I could talk about the South Dakota Developmental Disabilities Conference, where a few months ago, where I was slated to give a keynote, give a breakout. A breakout, and and one of the other breakout presenters was sick, so I said yes, I'll do 2 breakouts, and they both went well. Could talk about going to my college and speaking to a class then, and getting feedback that they were really inspired by it. And on down the list. I love all that stuff, and all that stuff is how I'm contributing to the world, how I'm paying it forward. But if I only talk about the hard times and then talk about if I only talk about the times I'm at the foot of the mountain, and then talk about the times I'm at the top of the mountain, like you are left with, wow, it's impressive that Jason got to the top of the mountain, and what he's, at least in the areas he's talking about, and I want to be at the top of the mountain like him. But wait, he was at the bottom of the mountain, and now he's at the top. How in the world did he get from here to there to there? And how in and what a question that is, huh? How in the world did someone maybe we'll listen to Taylor Swift song, and like, how in the world did she get from where she was to where she is now, or with any someone's telling us a story about all the achievements, and like, how in the world did they get from where they were to where they are now? But you know what? We can also do it with our own life story. Like, think back to baby pictures you've seen of yourself when you're 3 or 5 or 8 months old, and think of where you are now. How in the world did you get from that point to this point? It's so easy to take for granted that we are where we are now because we've grown up with ourselves and we've witnessed each day of a story. So of course we are where we are now. But if we step outside of ourselves and for a second and look at our life, or maybe write different events of our life down and look at events that happened a long time ago compared to current events, it can be like, what? How did I get here? And it's tempting to go way away to the big events, and they are important. That the time you got the job you really wanted, you applied, and you found the courage to show up for the interview, and you were confident in the interview, but afterwards you second guessed yourself and you're like, no, they won't hire me. But then they called and hired you. That's a big event. It's a big event. Uh, one of my good friends and the man I work with at awkwardlyawesome.com, my website and my the man I work with in my business. I was basically trying to think of a clever way to say that, but that's not. But anyway, Chris Taylor is getting married to his beloved fiance in a few weeks, and it's so exciting, and it's tempting to cite big events like that as getting us to where we are now, and they are a big deal, and they are very transformative, and they're not the whole story. They're not the whole story. Consider if you heard this one before, I actually don't apologize because it's such a major story of how something tiny can turn into something large, something tiny we do. Like about 15 years ago, I had just graduated with my MFA in poetry. Big event, right? Big event. Yay! But I wasn't going yay. I was back in my basement apartment and where I lived in Sioux Falls at the time. And I knew that becoming a professional poet and making money off writing poems, making a good living off that, just probably wasn't going to work. And I didn't want to teach poetry, or for that matter, have the confidence to teach poetry at the time. And so I was left to going back to the job I had for 10 years or 8 years. And doesn't matter. The job I had for a lot of years, and I just wasn't happy. Like a big thing had happened. I had graduated, worked hard and graduated from this master's program, and I just wasn't happy, and I was still miserably stressed out. And do you ever have those times and you're trying to think about what to do, and how to feel better? And thanks, John. Good to see you. See you, John. You are a rock star too. Thanks, John Kovacs. And when we're in a moment like that, it's easy, or at least for me, it's tempting to go through. Oh, what should I do? I could do the thing, but then to say no, that thing won't make a difference, and then just went down a list of things to do, but then talk 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 yourself out of all of them because you're upset and you don't think in the moment of being so upset and distraught that anything you do will matter. Luckily, as I was pacing around my basement apartment, I remembered that my aunt and uncle had suggested some months before, hey Jason, we think you ought to try yoga. And at the time I'm like, what? Dude, I have a disability. I have coordination issues. I have a speech impediment. The last thing in the world I do is yoga. I would do or want to do would be yoga. Do you ever have that happen? You get ideas from people, and instead of really considering them mad and considering whether the idea is a good fit for you, and trying it on, you immediately come up with reasons not to do it, and why it wouldn't work, and why it's a bad idea, and on and on. Well, anyway, I did that for about 6 months with my aunt and uncle's idea that I should try yoga. I ignored it until I practically forgot about it. But luckily, on this morning I was so distraught, it came to me, and I was so miserable. I'm like, what the heck? So I got on my winter coat. It was, oh, by the way, it was January. It wasn't only miserable in my head. was miserable outside. Got on my coat, my stocking cap, my boots, my mittens, and I trudged down to the YMCA. And all I did that was sign up for monthly membership with the intention of doing yoga. I didn't even take a yoga class that first day. I didn't even observe a yoga class. I just walked to the desk on the second floor of the Sioux Falls YMCA and signed up for a membership. I filled out a form, gave them the deposit the first month or whatever, and walked out. But that tiny step that took what I didn't live that far away. I bet the whole thing from bundling up to walking down there to signing up to paying to walking back. I bet it took less than an hour. Less than an hour. But that tiny step changed my life. I mean, literally, that if I had never taken that step and start with yoga, I mean, maybe I would have found a different way to become more relaxed. Maybe I would have just spent the rest of my life stressed out and miserable. I don't know. But in any case, that tiny step transformed my life. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. No. Does every step lead to an amazing success story like the one I just described? I don't know if yes, I would call it leading to a success story because that step I described has led not only to the career I have now and which I love, but my ability to impact so many people. Um. So I know it can be tempting when we want, especially when we want something big to happen. Like we want to make a million bucks and $1 million in the next 6 months. The small step that we take toward that goal can seem so minuscule in comparison to the goal that it can become easy to talk ourselves out of it and say, you know, telling my friend about my business idea will never lead to making a million, so why even do it? And we in the bigger the goal, I've never thought of this before, but it's cool. The bigger the goal, which is hard for me to say, the bigger the goal, GOAL goal, it still sounds like I'm saying goal. The bigger the GOAL goal, the smaller the step, next step will seem in comparison. If our goal is just to make $1, like hey, it might be very easy to take a confident step and make $1, or take a confident step and make $100, or even 1,000. But if our goal is to make 10 million or 50 million or higher, the next step seems a lot smaller in comparison. But it doesn't mean it's not important. And I immediately went to talking about money goals, and that's just one of many goals. I mean, say our health goal is like his name's, think his name is Nick. But anyway, he spoke at one of the conference I presented at. But so as part of his experience, Nick has Down syndrome, and his dad saw that he was just playing. He's like 18, 19 and just playing video games. So somehow his dad came up with this crazy idea that I'm going to coach my son who has Down syndrome to win an Ironman, which is, and I think Ironman is a 100-mile bike ride, 26.2-mile win, and a 2-mile swim. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, it's extremely long. And sometimes we set Ironman type fitness goals. I want to lose this great amount of weight. I want to go from eating very unhealthy to eating perfectly healthy. I want to run a marathon, exercise for 3 hours a day, and whatever we do next, whatever the next step is going to be tiny compared to that big goal. And part of the reason Nick's story came to me right now is his dad figured out that Nick was inspired by achieving daily steps and seeing how much progress he made. So maybe on the first day he says, "Son, can you win half a mile?" I'm just making this up. I don't know how far the increments were, but the first day was a short distance, and his dad would keep track and show Nick that as he stepped out to run each day, he would ran often a little farther, And Nick was inspired by seeing how his daily steps expanded and expanded. And he kept practicing, he kept running, kept biking, he kept swimming. And you know what? He became the first person with Down syndrome to 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 complete an Ironman. An Ironman. And has he stopped there? No, he's running marathons all over the place, and I don't know what else he's done other athletic things, maybe more Ironmans. I'm not entirely sure, but that's it's just such an inspiring story. But I'm able to tell you the story because not because this young man was a naturally talented athlete. Not at all. Not at all. He was out of shape. Just didn't have many athletic gifts, but the consistency of taking steps, of courageously taking steps, the consistency of courageously taking steps propelled him towards greatness. So, and this is a good reminder to me too to not only set goals that we know we can accomplish, that we know exactly what steps to take and that they'll be accomplished quickly. Like if I set a goal to brush my teeth, I mean I could do that. Teeth brushing is a good thing to do, and I do it twice a day. But it wouldn't challenge me. I know the exact steps, the exact order, and it's over and done in just a few minutes. But if we set set amazing goals aligned with our dreams, what we really want to do in life, like I've said for years that my goal is to speak to millions of people in my lifetime. Now, do I know exactly how to accomplish that? No way, not at all, not in any sense of the word. And in all my goals, no, sorry, all my steps are going to see a little more of that trophy. Oh, oh my steps compared to speaking to millions of people in my lifetime are going to all my next steps are going to seem small in comparison unless my next step on some day happens to be speaking to an audience of 50 or 100,000. That step wouldn't seem that small, but but that wouldn't be a small step. That would be a big thing. So so what does a small step towards speaking to millions of people look like? Well, right now it looks like doing this, being my own guest. Gosh, did that sound cheesy? Being my own guest on Awkwardly Awesome podcast. I show you the trophy, but then I didn't like the side thing, so no more trophy, I guess. Right now the step looks like being my own guest on Awkwardly Awesome podcast. And tonight the step will look like speaking to youth and adults at a church in Del Rapids. And the goal of our time together is to talk about loneliness and proactive suicide prevention, and through having a substantive but lighthearted conversation, helping everyone remember that no matter what our age, we all go through challenges. We all experience heartache, but we also have brilliant moments and have fun moments and do great things, and our energy also ripples out. So that's what speaking to millions that's what my next step towards speaking to millions of people looks like tonight. And like I was talking about earlier, it's very easy to trivialize the steps we take. Like I could say, this podcast, this being my own guest, I kind of bumbled the beginning, and I didn't advertise it very well, so not that many people are finally probably seeing it, and hey, what does it matter? And it's so easy, isn't it? Can you hear yourself talking yourself in your mind, talking yourself out of taking your own next step, or your own series of next steps? It's easy to trivialize. And maybe, but I mean, so maybe no one, very few people ever see this episode of Awkwardly Awesome podcast, but the step is still very important to me and my dream of speaking to millions of people, because to speak to millions of people, you better, a speaker who wants to do that is me, better develop his craft to the utmost of his ability. So even in our practice, taking a step of practicing for an hour gets me farther ahead. But then also social media is mind-boggling, because we don't know whoever we don't know who sees what, which can be terrifying, but also exhilarating, because maybe someone see this, and I've said the exact things that affect them in the moment, and they want to collaborate somehow, and suddenly I'm speaking with groups that they love, and we are putting on events together, and really lifting people up, all because they saw this podcast. Um, I also so 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 I'm urging you, and I'm urging me to really honor every step you take, because it's important to the whole, whether you see it in the moment, whether you see it later on, or whether you never see it. In your growth. You might say, well, Jason, I took a step or 10 steps in the wrong direction. How did that aid in my growth? Well, it was huge, because once you realize that those steps were in the wrong direction, you can reorient and step in the direction you want to go. It all matters. And it all matters, including the behind the scenes stuff. The stuff that no one's very few people see. Like often very few people see a day planners, the calendars we have on our computers. So why does it matter that we take small steps of of maintaining those, and being sure to mark things in those, and keeping them up to date? It matters because the small step of maintaining our calendars helps us show up for the things that are important to us, and things that might have a big impact on our lives. Or what if someone lives alone? Why does it matter if the house is organized, or I mean, if no one's coming over, why does it matter? But things like this still matter, because if if a living space is so disorganized that you can't find your keys, can't find your wallet, can't find your driver's license, credit card, proof of insurance, on and on, if you can find nothing that's important to your daily life, the big steps, the big fun things are likely going to be much more complicated, because you're searching for car keys instead of doing the big fun thing. I'm So it's ironic that I should be talking like this, because I used to believe that either I was good at something fairly quickly, or else I would never be good at it. I didn't want to be patient. I didn't want to take steps that seemed insignificant. I didn't want to waste the time. And I missed out on so many things because of it. Could I have been a good musician? Could I have been a great musician? I don't know, because in fourth grade, practicing the recorder seemed like a utter waste of time. So I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. And instead of taking the small steps of practicing musical instruments, instead of doing the small steps, I said no to the small steps, and I built up this massive story that I'm not good at playing instruments. And in to this day I believe that story, because I've had what, for 40 years to get it ingrained in my head. But just because I believe a story that I'm not good at playing musical instruments, that doesn't mean that's factual. It just means that I haven't taken steps to learn to play musical instruments, and I haven't taken them consistently. If I spend 1,000 hours taking steps to play the piano, let's say, and it still sounds awful, I could say with some authority that, hey, I'm just, it's not in my wheelhouse to play piano, but but from where I am now, just thinking of the piano outside of this room and thinking I wouldn't be good at playing that. I'm just making stuff up. I've never taken steps to learn to play the piano. But by taking steps, by practicing, and by being resilient when we make mistakes along the way, because practice makes better and better, but practice itself is a process that's full of mistakes. Taking steps, some will work out very well. Sometimes you'll take a step and be like, oh, that's really cool. I made no mistakes when I take that step. That's really awesome. But sometimes taking the next step, you take it, you try your best, and it's basically a big lesson for you, a lesson in learning exactly what not to do. And you can still say, I did my imperfect best. I did my best. I took the step. It was imperfect, and I learned from the imperfections, and then I take the next step. And part of this, before we go, part of this is also finding aligning your big goals and dreams with what you're passionate about. One of my big dreams is to speak to millions of people and encourage them to see their brilliance and use their challenge as well in everything I talk about. And so I'm working towards that step by step. I alluded to, or I talked about musical instruments earlier. My big dream has never been to play any musical instrument. So some of them I think would be fun to play. Like, be fun just to pick up the guitar and play a tune. Be fun. But it's not my dream. I'm not willing to commit hours to it. So I choose to step towards speaking instead of stepping towards playing the piano. So I ask all my guests at the end of Awkwardly Awesome podcasts what doing the imperfect best means to them. So I'll ask myself, excuse me, I have to say it's tough interviewing yourself. Jason, what does doing your imperfect best mean to you? Today, doing my imperfect best means just really acknowledging that some things I do during a day are going to go very well, and some steps I take are going to go seamlessly, and some are going to have more challenges, and being committed to learning and rejoicing in the steps that went well, but also learning and rejoicing in the steps that didn't go well, and continuing forward. That's what doing my imperfect best means to me. Sure. Yes, I wanted to show my book there. See my book? See my book? Ah. I'm scrolling. That was just distraction. And how do I want to wrap this up? I'm yes, it takes courage for me to step out and speak. Not only because I have a speech impediment, but because public speaking is a huge challenge for the vast majority, or maybe most people in the world. It takes courage, but I also love to be able to impact people, to more than impact, to remind them of things, to remind them that they are not alone in their struggles, to remind them to remember the brilliance, and to remember the miracles and the good things in their lives, to remind them that to keep taking small steps, that small steps can that small steps are part of life, and and not only lead towards big things, but small steps make up the fabric of our day-to-day lives. And if we're going to find joy in our day-to-day lives, we best fall in love with small steps. So I'm a speaker. I wish I knew everyone, because I love people and I love hearing their stories, and hear from another you'll hear a duo's amazing story next week, and so I love hearing stories, but I don't know everybody. So if you know someone in school administration, or a parent who can just get a conversation started about me coming into a school, or someone at a church who can just get a conversation started about me coming into church, or someone in a business who can just get the conversation started, or in an agency that serves people with different kinds of disabilities, or people like me who experience disabilities. If you know someone who can get a conversation started about the potential of me speaking somewhere, please connect us. We all have gifts, and when a mind is speaking, and I want to use it as widely as I can. So if you know of someone, please connect us. You can find me on socials. If you're connected to me on socials, the easiest way is awkwardlyawesome.com. And I love to hear stories, and I love to bring out the best in people. So if you have a comment, a question, or if you need something, please reach out to. Thank you. I'm Jason Freeman, and usually I would have usually I would thank my guests, and put them backstage, and then say a few words about how amazing it was to interview them, and their wisdom and all that. But you've already heard me talk for an hour, so I'll just say you are the best. You are the only one of you in the world. Keep rejoicing in you, and keep taking small and bigger steps as often as you can. Thanks for being you. And smile.